The season 1 of The Crown starts with Princess Elizabeth getting engaged to Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, who's the former Prince Philip of Greece. Then we see that King George VI, who's suffering from lung cancer, gives his title to Philip ahead of the marriage to his daughter Elizabeth. The royal wedding was held at Westminster Abbey. Then we see Winston Churchill is elected Prime Minister for the second time as he wants to help Elizabeth to rule the kingdom. Princess Elizabeth returns home when she learns that her father is going into surgery. King George is found dead in his bed. The country is in a shock as the king was beloved to everyone. At the time of king's death, Princess Elizabeth was traveling in Kenya and she comes back with her husband to attend the funeral. We see the royal family gathering for the funeral of King George, including his brother, the Duke of Windsor. Princess Elizabeth, soon to be queen, was planning for her coronation, but Churchill asked her to push it to June 1953. In return, Elizabeth asked Churchill to help her convince the cabinet to let her change the names of her children to Windsor Mountbatten, but they refused. She asks her family to stay in Clarence House but agrees to move to Buckingham Palace. Due to the weather, people are dying in the kingdom, but Churchill refuses to see that as an issue. Elizabeth is pressured to ask her prime minister to resign, but the smoke clears just in time. Queen Mary, Elizabeth's grandmother, dies. The Duke of Windsor comes back to London for his mother, but he was told he can't attend the coronation of his niece. Coronation of the Queen is televised, and for the first time in history, millions of people saw the new Queen taking the oath. Elizabeth II was crowned on June 2, 1953. The Duke of Windsor watched the coronation on the TV in Paris. The Queen's sister, Princess Margaret, asked her permission to marry Captain Peter Townsend, who was already divorced once. The royal family is against that. The Queen asks her sister that she needs to wait until she is 25 to marry according to the Royal Marriages Act 1772. After which the couple was separated, where Townsend was sent to Brussels and Margaret to Rhodesia. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary, Anthony Eden, are ill and are trying to hide it, where Anthony Eden goes to Boston where he had a successful operation. Queen Elizabeth and Philip depart on a 6-month Commonwealth tour where Princess Margaret was in charge in her absence. The Queen has a passion for horse racing. Also, we see that the tensions between the Queen and her husband are rising as she can't balance her royal duties and her personal life. Churchill celebrates his 80th birthday and unveils his portrait, but he looks weak and frail in the picture, which angers him, but also it makes him realize that his time is up and he should resign. Queen attends Churchill's farewell and Anthony Eden becomes the Prime Minister. Peter Townsend returns to England and the rumor starts about engagement to Princess Margaret, who's free to marry whoever after she turns 25. But the Parliament, the Cabinet and the Church of England all rejected her proposal for this marriage, and she has to accept, even though she promised her sister that she can marry Peter after she turns 25. Princess Margaret, at the request of the Queen, announces that she will not marry Peter Townsend. Season 2 kicks off where the Queen suspects that her husband is cheating on her when she finds a picture of another girl in his briefcase. The tensions between the Queen and her husband kept growing in Season 2, and when the infamous sex scandal from 1963 comes to light about a politician John Profumo and a model Christine Keeler. The Queen suspected that Philip was involved in the affair. She thought that the Philip attended these illicit parties held by Stephen Ward, which is where Performer met Keeler. The Queen confronts her husband about the accusations and he denied everything and assures his love for her. At the time, the Queen is pregnant with their 4th child, Prince Edward. Princess Margaret is not in a very good shape as she was forced to break up with her first love. In Season 2, Princess Margaret meets the society photographer Anthony Armstrong. He took a couple of her pictures which she sent to a newspaper and sparked a minor scandal. When Margaret learns that Peter is engaged to someone else, she pushes Anthony to propose to her and the Queen blesses the marriage between the two. The Queen's uncle Edward famously abdicated the throne in 1936 after just 1 year of ruling. His brother George VI took his place. Edward is resented by the Queen Mother as her husband was forced to take the throne that he never wanted. Edward was exiled by the Queen when she learns that he was a Nazi sympathizer. We saw John and Jackie Kennedy's visit to the Buckingham Palace. After JFK was assassinated, we saw Queen writing a letter to Jackie Kennedy. Also in season 2, we see the early age of Prince Charles, who was forced to attend Gordonstoun School in Scotland against the wishes of Elizabeth. Prince Charles is unhappy at the school. He was bullied and constantly picked on. Prince Philip, who insisted on this school, responded by telling him that he is weak. Season 3 starts in 1964, which was the election year for the new Prime Minister, which caused some concern for the Queen. It seems that the Queen and Prince Philip are getting along with each other, but Princess Margaret and her husband Anthony, the Earl of Snowdon, skips their lunch to go and take pictures of the election day. Wilson wins the election and goes to meet the Queen, where he apologizes to her for winning, as he knows that the royal family is not happy that he won. But at the same time, he is not afraid of them as well. Winston Churchill dies and the country mourns his death. The MI5 head confirms that there is a mole at the heart of England, and it's not Wilson but Sir Anthony Blunt. Prince Philip and Blunt had a heated conversation where Blunt threatens the prince that he has incriminating pictures of him during the time of Perfumo scandal. Princess Margaret comes to US for the visit and gets the spotlight that she deserved. The Queen is not happy about it, but she has other things to worry about, as the country is struggling with a deficit of $800 million and need Americans to bail them out, but President Johnson is not that willing, as Prime Minister Wilson didn't support him over Vietnam. But Princess Margaret convinces the president with her charms to bail out the kingdom. It is October 1966 and the Welsh coal mining town had the accident which left a school full of children dead. Wilson goes to the Queen and asks her to visit the town and offer her people comfort, but the Queen doesn't go, and instead Prince Philip goes to the town. To deflect the blame, the officials steer the story towards the Queen, saying that she doesn't care about her people as she's nowhere to be seen. And finally, the Queen decided to go. It's 1967 in Athens. We see an elderly Mother Superior nun trying to sell her jewelry to keep her convent afloat. It turns out she is the Princess of Greece and the mother of Prince Philip. Prince Philip visits US, where he makes a fool out of himself at an interview. Prince Philip tries to counter it by making a documentary. The Queen is told there is a military coup about to happen in Greece, and she is advised to get her mother-in-law out of there, which she agrees to. At first, Prince Philip is not happy about it, as his mother was not there during his childhood, but when he learns the truth why she wasn't there, they both bond with each other again. The British economy is still in the toilet, as the news tells us. The Prime Minister wants to make cuts and fires Lord Mountbatten, the uncle of Prince Philip, from his position. As the PM is against the bankers controlling his country, all of them goes to Mountbatten and try to convince him for a coup, where he will be installed as the new PM. Mountbatten reminds his newfound friends that it is not easy to take over England, and the most importantly, they are going to need the Queen's support. But the PM Wilson learns about it and tells everything to the Queen. The Queen was furious about it and shuts down the whole thing and tells Mountbatten that there are other ways that he can be useful. Prince Charles gets a new teacher, Edward Millward, and they don't get along, as the new teacher believes in Republic nationalist agenda. Also, the young prince unwittingly insults the Welsh king, which made the teacher snap and leave him for good. But the prince goes to the library and learns everything there is about the Welsh culture, which made the teacher impressed and sympathize with him. We are in July 1969 and we see Neil Armstrong and others being interviewed on TV. Then we see that Prince Philip gets a private meeting with the astronauts and asks them for their experience, which he was disappointed by. It's 1970 and the Duke of Windsor is diagnosed with throat cancer. Back in England, we see Andrew Parker Bowles and Princess Anne hooking up. The Queen goes to visit the Duke of Windsor, where they both talk about Prince Charles, and the Queen says that he's not ready to rule. Also, the Duke apologizes to the Queen for running away from his responsibilities, but says that the crown always finds the right head. The Duke dies in France with his wife by his side. At the funeral of the Duke, the most upset is Prince Charles, as he saw himself in the Duke. Elizabeth reads the letters that Charles wrote to the Duke and sees that he is very serious about Camilla. Eventually, the Queen and her family decided that Camilla is not right for Prince Charles and sends him on an 8-month assignment to Caribbean and marries Andrew and Camilla. The relationship between Princess Margaret and her husband is on its last legs, and on her birthday she asks her family to side with her, but no one takes her seriously. She travels far off to Cool where she sees a young man, Roddy, and takes a liking to him. But the paparazzi took some pictures of them and another scandal broke. The Queen meets with PM Wilson, who was elected again but needs to retire as he is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Princess Margaret tried to take her own life and the Queen goes to visit her, where Princess says that the new PM will be her 7th in her reign, that people come and go and you are still here. Queen Elizabeth also shares that Princess is one of the most important people in her life and she can't go on without her. Then we move where the Queen celebrates her 25th anniversary of her ascension to the crown. The Queen shows doubt about her accomplishments, but Margaret assures her that there is only one Queen and she shouldn't worry that much.